Okay, my friend, today I just want to talk to you about something that's been on my mind. No fancy editing, not a whole lot of B-roll, just you and me chatting, a little bit of a heart to heart. And if you've been around these parts, then you're probably not surprised that what I want to talk about is, should you actually chase your dreams? Now, if you don't know me, my name is Lucinda. I'm 41 years old and I am still getting my life together. That was what my last video was all about. I'm still trying to figure it out. And if I have to believe my analytics for this channel, then most of the people that are watching these videos are around 30 to 40 years old. And maybe you are also trying to figure life out right now. Maybe you and I are in the same boat with being at just that start, at the cusp of chasing a new dream. As we're trying to navigate this crazy journey that we call life, there is so much to worry about. And then the world out there is pretty much on fire, right? There's wars, there's entire populations that are starving. There's all sorts of craziness happening with the weather and natural disasters. And then here I am being worried about my life and trying to figure stuff out because I don't know what I want to do with my life. Well, I do know what I want to do with my life, but I'm scared to actually do it. I basically sound like a 20-year-old, right? I sound like somebody that's just starting in life. But guess what? It doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 80 years old. If there's this urge that all of a sudden hits you that there's something that you've always wanted to do but you didn't do it and you want to chase that dream anyway, that can happen at any age. For me, it's happening in my 40s right now. Chasing my dreams comes with a lot of anxiety because I know from experience that when you turn a passion into an income, when you turn a passion into a job, you can come to resent that passion. So my passion was flying. I always wanted to become an airline pilot, and I was successful at that. I did become an airline pilot. But when flying became an obligation rather than something I did just because I loved it, it started weighing me down. I no longer loved flying anymore. In fact, chasing that dream for so long, I actually became an aerospace engineer first to be able to pay for flight training to then become a pilot. It's basically my entire adult life up to this point was in service of flying for a living. And then when I actually had to fly for a living, when it became an obligation, when I had to do it, I came to resent flying and I quit. So that's where we are right now. I quit my job of flying because it just no longer floated my boat, to be honest. Throughout all that time, from the start, that when I became an engineer and then all the things that I did, there was always this one thing in the back of my mind that kept nagging at me, and that was, why did I not go for a creative career in the first place? Because I loved being creative. And then even more so, when I was going through that whole thing to become an airline pilot, I started a YouTube channel and I loved it. I loved making videos. It was all about aviation at that point, and I no longer have that channel because my interest changed. But then I discovered how cool it is to actually be creative with a camera. So that opened up all these creative neural pathways. They became active again and I really enjoyed it. And I always enjoyed drawing. I always enjoyed creating things and painting and all these things that when I went through all of the things that I had to go through to become an airline pilot, I let all of that go. And then just by starting that one YouTube channel, I felt that creativity coming back. Now, I don't know if it's came back with a vengeance, that feeling that I wanted to be creative just because flying no longer served me, or was it always there and should I have done that in the first place? Now, I don't know, but what I do know is that 10 months ago, I did not feel that my life was fulfilling. I did not feel like this is what I wanted to do with life. I was completely burnt out. So not only for my mental, but also for my physical health, I just needed to quit and heal myself from the burnout and then figure it out. figure out what's next. So yeah, what now? I want to get into a creative career, something with a camera. So you might be familiar with Danny Gervitz from here on YouTube. I had been following him for years. He's a filmmaker, and he just finished his first feature film. It's like narrative filmmaker. That seems like something that's really cool to do. But I'm also really inspired by people like Luke Forsyth and Mark Boone, I think, here on YouTube as well, that are documentary filmmakers. And then from Hollywood, I'm super inspired by Wes Anderson. My dog's name is Mr. Mako Anderson. Also a little bit because of the Matrix movies, right? But also because of Wes Anderson. I'm very inspired by these filmmakers, and that's something that I want to do too, even though I'm not quite sure what my direction in it would be, because I'm so new to all of this. All I have been doing is making these YouTube videos. So I don't necessarily know how to break into the industry, right? I don't necessarily know what the correct steps are to take and to figure out what my lane will be. You know, sure, I can figure it all out. I mean, like Marie Forleo says, right? Everything is figure outable, and I completely agree with that. I can figure it out eventually what my creative lane will be. Yeah, for everybody that's at the start of a new dream, chasing a passion for you, it might be a creative career as well. It's really uncertain times, right? And let's be completely honest, there are tons of people out there that are more creative, more talented, more connected, know what they're doing way better than we are, because we are just at the start of our journey, right? So for example, in my case, who is gonna hire me to make their commercial, or to film their wedding, or to make a short film for them, whatever video project? Who's gonna even hire me for that? Because nobody knows who I am, right? And I have nothing to show for myself. I don't have the experience. I'm just not there yet. Every successful person had to start somewhere. Every successful person has been in our shoes. Every successful person was a newbie at some point. So that gives me hope. While I try to transition into this creative career that I haven't completely defined yet, but let's say documentary filmmaker, like I expressed just now, I have so many doubts. And then on top of that, I've already had the experience to chase a dream, chase a passion, and then be disappointed in the end. And I don't want that to happen again. I don't want to burn out again. I don't want to be in a place where, yes, I did do what I set out to do, but then it wasn't as great as I had anticipated it to be or wanted it to be. So I talked about this, I think, in my last video as well, that this time I'm really gonna guard myself from working all the time and not having enough fun and not enough resting, because really the key to success is to really work hard, but also make time for fun and definitely make time to rest. That will be the key to success. And also, I want to do it in a way that I'm not going to resent that passion. I'm not going to resent the fact that I did choose to do something creative and then try to get an income from that as well. So that is the plan, but as well as the doubts that I have right now. I guess it's the case for anybody, right? Also for you, when you are starting something completely new, when you're starting something that is completely foreign to you, you are stepping outside of your comfort zone. It's gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna feel a little bit, right? It's gonna feel a little, you know, it's outside of that comfort zone where the magic happens, right? Yeah. I also think that you need to be a little bit delulu, as the kids say nowadays on, I guess, the TikToks of the world. I don't even have TikTok. Are kids saying that? If you're my age, then it simply, to me, means believing in yourself. Have a strong belief in yourself and that you can get the things that you really want in life, that you can make that happen. I mean, if you're not going to believe in yourself, who will, right? You are the star of your own universe, so shine bright. And what it really comes down to is when I am 80, 90, 100 years old, I'm just really hoping that I'll be blessed to, that I'll be so blessed to become really old. But whatever age I am, and I'm looking in the mirror and I think that I look fabulous with my gray curly hair, then I want to know that this fabulous lady that is looking back at me, that she made the most out of her life. I want to make sure that that lady looking back at me, that she has no regrets and that she doesn't have a whole bunch of what ifs. She's happy with what she did, even if that meant chasing down not one, but two, maybe even three dreams. Who knows? Maybe there's something else eventually that floats my boat. I don't know. Oh, it is getting really dark. I think it's gonna rain again. It's that season here in Florida, and I'm working with just natural light as a little bit of an experiment. So I'm really sorry for the changing lighting conditions, but I just want to make a few more points, maybe one or two. And first of all, I realize that it might be in the end unrealistic to change your passion into an income, to change it into a job. That might not happen in the end, right? But I do believe that it's worth it. Like even so, if you want to do this, you need to make sure that you're responsible, right? You need to be able to feed yourself, you need to be able to feed your family, you need to make sure that you can take care of all the adulting that you have to do in life. And if that means that you can't actually do anything to change what you're doing right now, you have to keep that job, you have to keep doing what you're doing, then maybe, no, not maybe, then I feel like you just have to try to make some time in your spare time to spend with your passions, to be creative, whatever that may be, because that passion, that creativity, it's part of you. And I feel like that part of you should not be neglected. I feel like that part of you needs to be nurtured as well, even if it's only 5 minutes a day, right? Because I also, it's a huge privilege and something that I'm super thankful for, that I was able to take 2 years off in order to figure it out, right? I'm calling this my adult gap year, and I'm more than, I know that not everybody can do this. I know that it's unrealistic for some people, but I don't think it's unrealistic to make some time for your creativity, for your passions, and I really do believe that it's important. And yeah, I know that for me in my situation, it might really be super unrealistic that I'm actually going to be able to become a filmmaker. But then at least I gave it a try, and at least I'm not living with regrets. And then I will still keep this YouTube channel on the side, right? I can still do what I love on the side because, like I said, that passion, that creativity is part of you, and I really do believe that that needs to be nurtured. All right, it's getting super dark, so I'm gonna turn on a light. Oh boy. Of course, when I want to, woo, that's, this is giving some ghost story vibes. Hold on. Okay, so quickly before the massive storm is gonna break out, because gosh, it got super, super dark all of a sudden. It happened yesterday when I was starting to film too. It was a massive storm. Anyway, the last point that I want to make is keep moving forward. Keep moving forward with your dream, even if that's 5 minutes a day, or if you're like me, trying to overhaul your life to chase a passion. Keep moving forward and do whatever makes you happy. You only have one life, right? So we need to make it count. Yeah, do whatever makes you happy, because when push comes to shove, that's all that matters, right? So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And especially if you're still here after so much time, I really do appreciate you spending so much time with me today. And with this video being a little bit different, right? Being a heart-to-heart, not having a whole lot of B-roll and not a whole lot of anything. And the changing lighting conditions, I do appreciate you giving me so much of your valuable time. And if we're still chatting, then you are definitely my people. If you're also in South Florida and the storms are starting, be careful out there. Ugh, and hurricane season, right? Yikes. Or anywhere else. Just be careful out there. Pet a furry friend if you have one, and keep chasing your dreams.